Have you ever wondered what it takes for someone to go from being the weakest to the most unstoppable force in the world? In most stories, power comes through talent, destiny, or sheer luck. But in solo leveling, Jin-Woo's rise was different. It wasn't just about getting stronger. It was about evolving into something beyond human. Jin-Woo's power didn't come all at once. It grew, stage by stage, each one more terrifying than the last. If you look closely, his journey can be divided into 3 distinct phases. At first, he was nothing more than a struggling hunter, barely able to survive. Then, he became a warrior, a man who knew how to fight and win. But the final stage? That's when he transcended everything, reaching a level of power so overwhelming that even the gods feared him. Let's take a deep dive into these 3 stages of Jin-Woo's insane power. At the very beginning, Jin-Woo was at the bottom of the food chain, a low-ranked hunter, barely better than an ordinary person, constantly risking his life for a few dollars. He was weak, slower than his teammates, and couldn't even defeat the weakest of monsters. He wasn't seen as a fighter, but as a liability, the kind of person others left behind when things got dangerous. But then came the double dungeon. A nightmare of a place filled with eerie statues that moved like executioners, dealing out death with terrifying precision. It was there that Jin-Woo faced his first true moment of despair. One by one, his teammates were slaughtered. The only thing he could do was watch, powerless. And then, when he should have died as well, he was given a choice. Would he accept a mysterious system's offer to become a player? From that moment, everything changed. Jin-Woo's second stage of power was all about growth. The system allowed him to level up, something no other hunter in the world could do. At first, it was slow. Small increases in strength, a bit more speed, a little more endurance. But unlike others, he wasn't stuck at one power level. He could grind, train, and improve endlessly. His first battles after receiving the system were still tough. He had no technique, no experience fighting stronger enemies. He had to learn how to use his new abilities, how to fight like someone who could actually win. But as time passed, the difference became clear. The man who had once been seen as the weakest was suddenly taking down monsters that should have been far beyond his reach. And he wasn't just growing stronger physically, he was becoming more confident, more ruthless. He stopped hesitating. He stopped fearing. By the time he reached his peak in this second stage, he was no longer just a hunter. He was a predator, moving through dungeons with a sense of control no one else had. He didn't need a team anymore. He was his own army. But even that wasn't the final stage of his power. There was still something greater waiting for him. Jin-Woo's third and final transformation was something no one could have predicted. He wasn't just a high-level hunter anymore. He became the Shadow Monarch, a being beyond human limits. With an army of shadows at his command, he could crush entire nations without lifting a finger. He was no longer bound by the rules of ordinary strength. He had stepped into a new realm of existence. At this point, even the strongest hunters in the world were nothing to him. He could raise the dead and turn them into soldiers. He could regenerate from wounds that should have been fatal. He could fight against literal gods and win. And yet, even with all that power, he never lost himself. Unlike many who gain overwhelming strength, Jin-Woo didn't become arrogant. He didn't lose his sense of purpose. His journey was never just about getting stronger for the sake of power. It was about protecting those he cared about. So, after everything, was this his final form, or was there still something beyond even this? Jin-Woo's story is proof that power isn't just about strength. It's about change, about growth, about the willingness to keep pushing forward no matter how impossible things seem. And that's what makes his journey so legendary.